Let me ask you something straight from the heart. How many of you are still dragging yesterday into today? Be honest with yourself. You wake up, but you're not really awake. You smile, but deep inside, you're carrying regrets, failures, betrayals, even old victories that make you feel like your best days are already behind you. And because of that, you're not living, you're surviving. But listen to me, the weight of yesterday was never meant to be carried into today. That weight is the very reason so many people stay stuck in the past, stuck in the same patterns, stuck in the same story. And I'm here to tell you something powerful. If you keep replaying yesterday, you'll never rise today. This moment right now, this very second, is your chance to break free from the prison of your past. I don't care how dark it was. I don't care how heavy it felt. I don't care how many times you fell. What matters is this. You willing to let go of yesterday so you can finally rise today? Because if you are, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes could be the turning point you've been waiting for your whole life. You know, the greatest prisons people live in isn't a physical place. It's not made of concrete, steel, or locked doors. It's the invisible cage of regret. You can't see it, but you feel it every single day. It's that heavy knot in your chest, whisper in the back of your mind that says, if only I had done this differently. If only I had said this instead. If only I hadn't made that mistake. And before you know it, those two little words, if only, become the soundtrack of your life. I want you to stop for a second and think about this. How much of your energy today is being wasted thinking about something you can never change? How many times do you replay a conversation you wish you handled better, a relationship you wish you hadn't broken, a chance you wish you had taken? You keep rehearsing the past as if somehow you can rewrite it, but you can't. Yesterday is over. The truth is, regret is like carrying a backpack full of rocks. Every time you hold on to another mistake, you're throwing another rock inside. At first, maybe it doesn't feel so heavy. Try walking through life day after day with that weight on your back, and suddenly every step becomes exhausting. People wonder why they're tired all the time, why they have no passion, no energy, no drive. It's not because life is too heavy. It's because they're carrying baggage they were never designed to carry. Let me tell you something, regret doesn't punish you, it paralyzes you. It steals the power of today and blinds you from the possibility of tomorrow. Here's the brutal truth. Every single person in this room has screwed up. Every single person has failed, has said the wrong thing, has let someone down, has walked away from an opportunity. You can't escape it. That's called being human. The question isn't, did you make mistakes? The real question is, are you going to keep reliving them? Are you going to release them and move forward? I've met people who spend more energy protecting their regret than building their future. It's almost like they've made regret a part of their identity. They introduce themselves not with words, with energy that screams, I'm still broken, I'm still guilty, I'm still ashamed. And then they wonder why life feels so heavy. They don't realize that holding on to regret is like trying to drive a car while staring at the rearview mirror. No matter how skilled you are, you're going to crash. You can't see the road ahead if all your attention is stuck behind you. Let me give you a different way to think about regret. Regret isn't there to torture you. Regret is there to teach you. The pain you feel from regret is proof that you're capable of growth. It's a signal, not a sentence. It's your soul's way of saying, hey, wake up. Learn the lesson. Don't repeat this again. But once you've taken the lesson, once you've extracted the wisdom, you don't need to keep carrying the pain. That's like drinking the medicine and then refusing to spit out the spoon. You got what you needed. Let it go. The only way regret becomes useful is if you transform it. If you take it and say, that mistake doesn't define me, it refines me. That failure doesn't end me. It educates me. That loss doesn't break me. It builds me. When you can reframe regret into fuel, suddenly the same thing that was holding you down becomes the thing that launches you forward. Think about some of the greatest stories you've ever heard. Heroes, leaders, innovators, they're not people who never made mistakes. They're people who made massive mistakes, sometimes catastrophic ones, but instead of dragging those mistakes into their future, they used them as the raw material to create something greater. They didn't run from their regret. They redeemed it. So can you. But it takes a decision, a real, firm, unshakable decision to say, I am not going to keep punishing myself for something I cannot change. I am not going to keep giving my past the power to ruin my present. I'm not going to waste another day of my life carrying a weight that was never meant to be mine. That decision is the line in the sand. That's where regret ends and freedom begins. And here's something powerful to remember. The people you think you let down, the people you think will never forgive you, most of the time they already have. You're the only one still holding on. Or maybe it's not about someone else. Maybe it's about forgiving yourself. That's often the hardest part, isn't it? Because deep down you know what you could have done better. You know how badly you messed up. But hear me on this. Punishing yourself doesn't heal you. It only deepens the wound. Forgiveness isn't saying, I did was okay. Forgiveness is saying, I refuse to let what I did yesterday control who I become today. You've got to understand something. Your past is not a life sentence. It's a life lesson. If you don't release the weight of regret, you'll never be able to rise into the person you were created to be. Imagine trying to run a marathon with a 100-pound chain around your ankle. You might move, but you'll never soar. Regret is that chain. And the moment you decide to cut it loose, suddenly you realize just how much strength, speed, and power you already had inside you. So I want you to picture it right now. Picture yourself holding that backpack full of rocks. Every rock has a label: failure, guilt, missed chances, broken relationships, poor decisions. You've been carrying it for years, but in this moment you have a choice. You can keep walking with it until it breaks you, or you can set it down. The second you set it down, you feel lighter, freer, stronger. That's what happens when you release regret. You don't just drop the weight, you reclaim your life. And isn't that what you came here for? To rise, to live fully. Breathe without heaviness pressing on your chest, to step into today without being dragged back into yesterday, to finally give yourself permission to move forward, to grow, to rise. The truth is simple: you cannot rewrite the past. You can write a new future. And the only way to do that is to stop rereading the same old chapter. Let the regret go. Learn from it, bless it, release it. Because when you finally drop the weight of regret, you rise higher than you ever thought possible. There's another trap people don't always recognize, and sometimes it's even more dangerous than regret. It's the trap of worshiping your past success. And I know that sounds strange, because isn't success what we all want? Isn't success proof that we did something right, that we achieved something meaningful, that we mattered? Absolutely. But here's the truth most people don't want to face. Past success can become your prison just as much as your past failure. Think about it. How many people do you know who keep telling the same old story? Back in my day, I did this. 5 years ago, I accomplished that. When I was younger, I built this, I led that, I won this. And when you really listen, you realize something. They're living in yesterday's glory because they've stopped creating today's. They're stuck replaying the highlight reel of their past because deep down they're afraid they don't have another victory in them. But here's the problem with that: yesterday's victories don't solve today's challenges. Yesterday's strategies don't create tomorrow's breakthroughs. What got you here will not get you there. And the second you start believing that the best part of your life already happened, you begin dying in the present moment. Past success is dangerous because it tricks you into thinking you've arrived. It whispers in your ear, you've done enough. You've achieved enough. You don't need to push anymore. You don't need to grow anymore. And the moment you stop growing, living life doesn't stand still. You're either expanding or shrinking, moving forward or falling back. I've met countless people who built incredible careers, who achieved something remarkable at one stage of life. Then they built a throne out of it and sat there for the rest of their days. They stopped innovating. They stopped risking. They stopped dreaming. And they wondered why their fire went out. It's because they let yesterday's success define them instead of using it to drive them. Your past success is not your identity. It's evidence of what's possible. It's a reminder of what you're capable of when you commit, when you focus. You give everything you have, but it's not the finish line. The finish line is the day you take your last breath. Until then, you're not done. If your heart is still beating, that means there's still more for you to do, more for you to create, for you to give, more for you to rise into. The dangerous thing about worshiping past success is that it robs you of hunger. And hunger is the engine of growth. Hunger is what makes you wake up with fire. Hunger is what makes you stretch beyond your comfort zone. Hunger is what makes you take risks when it would be easier to stay safe. But if you keep telling yourself, I've already made it, you stop feeling hungry. And when you stop feeling hungry, you start dying long before your body gives out. Here's the paradox: real success isn't measured by what you did yesterday. It's measured by what you're willing to do today. Yesterday's success is history. Today's effort is what defines your future. You can't eat yesterday's meal and expect to stay nourished today. You can't breathe yesterday's air and expect it to keep you alive today. Life is happening now, and success has to be created now. Let's be real. Sometimes people worship past success because it's the only thing that makes them feel valuable anymore. They cling to that old story because it's safer than facing the uncertainty of a new chapter. It's scary to step into the unknown and risk failing again. But the truth is, if you keep clinging to the past, you'll never taste the fullness of what your future could be. I want you to imagine this. You're climbing a mountain. You've made it to a plateau that feels pretty high. You stop, you look around, and you say, wow, look how far I've come. Look at the view. Look at what I've achieved. And that's a beautiful moment. You should celebrate it. If you set up camp there, if you decide that's the top, you'll never discover that the peak is still waiting above you. You'll settle for good when great was possible. You'll settle for great when extraordinary was waiting. Success isn't a place you arrive. It's a direction you live in. It's the constant willingness to keep climbing, to keep creating, to keep building, to keep stretching, no matter how much you've already done. The moment you stop worshiping your past success and start asking, what else is possible for me? You ignite that hunger again. That hunger, that relentless drive, is what separates those who fade into the background from those who continue to rise year after year. So ask yourself honestly, are you holding on to an old trophy as proof that you mattered? Are you still writing new chapters? Are you hiding behind the story of what you used to do? Or are you willing to step forward and do it again, only bigger, deeper, stronger? You see, life rewards those who refuse to settle. You've got to reach a point where yesterday's success becomes nothing more than fuel for today's fire. Instead of saying, I already did that, you say, If I did that then, imagine what I can do now. Instead of resting on old achievements, you use them as evidence that you're capable of even more. And let me tell you something, if you're still alive, you are not finished. The best part of your life is not behind you, it's in front of you. The greatest thing you'll ever create, the deepest love you'll ever experience, the highest level of impact you'll ever have. It hasn't even been written yet, but it won't happen if you're still worshiping yesterday's story. You've got to shake yourself awake and realize that the world doesn't care what you did yesterday. Life is asking, what are you doing today? What are you creating now? Who are you becoming in this moment? And if your answer is silence, if your answer is just replaying the old highlight reel, then you're not living, you're reminiscing, and reminiscing doesn't change the world. Action does, growth does, hunger does. So the choice is yours. You can keep bowing down to the idol of your past success, or you can break it apart and build something new, something greater, something that reflects not just who you were, but who you are becoming. Because the truth is, not your last victory, you are your next one. And the moment you let go of worshiping the past, you open the door to creating a future so powerful, so alive, so breathtaking, that yesterday will look small compared to what you're stepping into. One of the hardest things you'll ever do in life is let go of the identity you've been holding on to for years. The reason it's so hard is because we've been conditioned to believe that who we were is who we are, and who we are is who we always will be. But that's a lie. Who you were is just a chapter. It's not the whole book. Yet so many people get stuck because they confuse their past identity with their permanent destiny. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, that's just the way I am? They wear their old identity like a badge of honor, or sometimes like a curse they can't shake off. I've always been the quiet one. I'm not good at relationships. I'm a failure. I'm not the kind of person who takes risks. And they repeat it so often, they start believing it's the truth. But here's the truth. Those are not facts, they're stories. Stories you've been telling yourself, stories shaped by past experiences, stories that might have been true at one time, but don't have to define you anymore. Your identity is powerful because it's the foundation of every decision you make. When you believe something about yourself, your brain does everything it can to stay consistent with that belief. If you tell yourself you're the kind of person who always messes things up, you'll find ways to sabotage yourself just to prove the story right. If you tell yourself you're not a leader, you'll back away from opportunities to lead. Even if you're capable, your identity creates the boundaries of your life. The problem is most people never stop to question if the identity they're living is even theirs, or if it was planted there by someone else. Maybe a teacher once told you you'd never amount to much. Maybe your parents labeled you as the shy one, or the irresponsible one, or the one who always causes trouble. Maybe a failure from your past convinced you that you'll never succeed. Now you've been dragging that identity around like it's permanent truth, when really it's nothing more than an old story that's overdue to be rewritten. Here's the reality. You are not your past labels. You are not your old patterns, not the mistakes you made, and you're not even the victories you once had. You're more than that, but you'll never rise until you detach from the old identity that's keeping you locked in yesterday. And let me tell you why this is so critical. Every new level of life demands a new version of you. The identity that got you to where you are today may not be the identity that can take you where you need to go tomorrow. If you cling too tightly to the old version of yourself, suffocate your own growth. Think about it. If a caterpillar refused to let go of its identity as a caterpillar, it would never become a butterfly. It would die clinging to the ground when it was born to fly. The same is true for you. You've got to be willing to shed the skin of who you were in order to step into the power of who you're becoming. That means questioning the stories you've been living by. That means asking yourself, is this identity serving me or is it limiting me? Is this who I really am or is it just who I got used to being? Because once you start questioning the story, you open the door to rewriting it. Now, I know letting go of old identities isn't easy. It can feel like death, because in a way it is. It's the death of who you used to be. And we as human beings fear that death, even if it's a death of limitation. You might feel like you're betraying your past or like you're stepping into unknown territory without a map. But here's the thing, the death of the old identity is the birth of the new you. And that's not something to fear. That's something to celebrate. Too many people cling to an old identity because it feels familiar. Even if it's painful, at least it's predictable. At least they know who they are in that box. But comfort zones are prisons disguised as safety. You weren't born to be confined to a box. You were born to grow, to evolve, to expand beyond anything you've ever known. The only way to do that is to let go of who you were so you can step into who you're meant to be. I want you to imagine this. Imagine holding a mask in your hand. That mask represents the identity you've been wearing, the one shaped by your past, your mistakes, by your old stories. You've been wearing it for so long that you forgot it's not even your real face. But deep down, you know it doesn't fit anymore. You know it's suffocating you. And you have a choice. You can keep wearing it, pretending it's who you are, or you can take it off and finally reveal the truth of who you've always been. That's the moment freedom begins. Not when you achieve something new, but when you let go of the false identity that's been holding you back. Here's what's beautiful. You don't have to know exactly who the new you will be. You don't have to have it all figured out. Growth isn't about having every step mapped out. It's about being willing to step into the unknown, trusting that the person you're becoming will reveal themselves along the way. The old you was enough for yesterday. The new you is required for today. So don't let the old labels define you. Don't let old stories trap you. Don't let an outdated identity stop you from living the life you were meant to live. You have the power to rewrite your story, to reframe your identity, to recreate yourself at any moment. That's what Rising Today is all about. It's about refusing to be chained by the person you used to be and daring to step boldly into the person you're becoming. And when you finally do that, when you detach from the old identity and embrace the new, you'll realize something profound. You'll realize that your identity was never meant to be fixed. It was always meant to evolve. Who you are is not a finished product. It's a masterpiece in progress. And the moment you stop clinging to who you were, you open the door to discovering who you truly are. Because in the end, the greatest freedom you'll ever experience is not changing the world. It's changing yourself. There's one more weight that keeps so many people locked in yesterday. It's one of the heaviest of all. It's the weight of unforgiveness. Some of you sitting here right now are carrying wounds that were inflicted years, maybe decades ago. You've convinced yourself that holding on to that pain is somehow protecting you. But the truth is, it's not protecting you, it's poisoning you. Forgiveness isn't about setting the other person free. It's about setting yourself free. Think about it. When someone hurt you, when someone betrayed you, when someone broke your trust, yes, it cut deep and the pain was real. But if years later you're still carrying that anger, still replaying that betrayal in your mind, still letting it define how you love, how you trust, how you live, then the wound didn't just come from them. You're reopening it every single day. You're the one twisting the knife. And I know that's not easy to hear, but it's the truth. Because the moment has passed, they may have walked away, they may have forgotten, they may have moved on. But you're still dragging them with you. Not in your arms, but in your heart. And that's why forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is about you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. You think you're punishing them, but the one who's suffocating is you. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again or invite them back into your life. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means release. It means I will not let what you did yesterday define who I am today. Let me take it one step further. It's not just about forgiving others. Some of you need to forgive yourself. Maybe the person you can't let off the hook is staring back at you in the mirror every morning. You replay the mistakes you made, the people you let down, the opportunities you missed, and you think punishing yourself will somehow make it right. But let me ask you this. How long are you going to keep paying the same bill? How many times are you going to relive that mistake? Haven't you already suffered enough for it? Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you ignore what happened. It means you acknowledge it, you learn from it, you take the lesson, and then you stop stabbing yourself with it. Because shame and guilt are like anchors. They keep you stuck at the bottom when you were made to rise. I've seen people sabotage their entire future because they couldn't forgive themselves for one bad chapter. They convinced themselves they weren't worthy of love or success or happiness because of what they did. But here's the reality. You are not your worst moment. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the sum of how you rise after them. The moment you forgive yourself, you take back your power. Forgiveness is freedom. It's like cutting chains you didn't even realize were wrapped around your soul. The moment you forgive, you feel lighter. You breathe deeper. You stand taller because you're no longer carrying the weight of yesterday's hurt into today's possibility. And I get it. Some of you are thinking, but you don't know what they did to me. You don't know how deep the pain went. You're right, I don't. I know this. Your future deserves more than to be held hostage by what they did. Your joy deserves more. Your peace deserves more. Your destiny deserves more. And the longer you hold on to that bitterness, the more power you give away. You're handing them control over your present and your future, even though they're not even here anymore. Why would you give that much power to someone who already hurt you once? Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is strength. It takes courage to let go. It takes power to say, what you did will not define me. What I did will not destroy me. I choose to release it. I choose to move forward. That's real strength. Anybody can hold a grudge. Anybody can rehearse the pain. It takes a warrior's heart to forgive. And here's the irony. When you finally forgive, the chains don't just fall off you. They fall off your vision of life. Suddenly you see more clearly. You're no longer looking at the world through the lens of your hurt. You're no longer sabotaging new relationships because of old wounds. You're no longer saying no to opportunities because you're afraid history will repeat itself. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, it changes your capacity to step into the future. So I want you to think about who or what you're still chained to. Is it a person? Is it a mistake? Is it yourself? Whoever or whatever it is, you've been carrying them long enough. And today can be the day you set them down. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to call them up. Forgiveness doesn't need their permission. It's not about them. It's about your freedom. Picture yourself dragging a massive ball and chain everywhere you go. Every step you take, it clanks behind you. It slows you down. It exhausts you. That's unforgiveness. And then imagine for a moment unlocking that shackle, letting the chain fall, walking away. That's what forgiveness feels like. That's what freedom feels like. And I promise you, the second you forgive, your energy changes. Your presence changes. Your life changes because you've just made space. Space for joy. Space for peace. Space for new love, new opportunities, new growth. And you realize that forgiveness wasn't about losing. It was about winning your life back. So stop dragging yesterday's wounds in today's possibility. Stop poisoning your own soul by holding on to grudges, by punishing yourself for mistakes you've already learned from. Forgive. Release. Let it go. Not for them. For you. Because only when you forgive can you truly be free to rise. There's another reason so many people never rise, and it has nothing to do with failure, regret, or unforgiveness. It's comfort. Comfort is seductive. Comfort whispers in your ear, stay where you are, don't move, don't risk, don't stretch. You're safe here. And for a moment, it feels good, it feels warm, it feels familiar. But here's the truth. Comfort is a cage. And if you're not careful, the comfort zone that you're clinging to will slowly become the prison that kills your potential. You weren't designed to settle for safe. You weren't built to live in mediocrity. You were born for expansion, for growth, for contribution, for more. Deep down, you know it. That's why even when everything looks fine on the outside, there's something inside of you that still feels restless because your soul is screaming for more, but your comfort is keeping you still. Never happens in the familiar. Growth only happens when you step into the unknown. And that's why so many people avoid it, because the unknown feels scary. But here's the reality. The unknown is where your future lives. The unknown is where your next level is waiting. The unknown is where you discover parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Think back to a time in your life when you grew the most. Was it when everything was easy? Was it when life was comfortable? It was when you were challenged. It was when you were stretched. It was when you had no choice but to dig deeper and find strength you didn't know you had. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from challenge. It comes from struggle. It comes from walking into situations where you don't have all the answers and learning who you really are in the process. And yet, most people build their lives around avoiding discomfort. They stay in jobs they hate because at least it's familiar. They stay in relationships that drain them because at least they know what to expect. They stay stuck in patterns that are killing their spirit because at least it feels safe. But let me tell you something. Familiarity is not freedom. Familiarity is often the slow death of your dreams. You've got to make a decision to trade what's familiar for what helps you grow. That means being willing to leave behind environments, habits, even relationships that keep you locked in the same place. It means being willing to say, I will not settle for what's safe when I was born for what's possible. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy. In fact, probably feel uncomfortable at first. But discomfort is the doorway to transformation. Discomfort is the signal that you're growing. When your muscles ache you after a workout, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're getting stronger. When your spirit aches because you're stretching beyond what's familiar, it's not because you're failing. It's because you're evolving. I know so many people who pray for change, but live in patterns that resist it. They say they want more out of life, but when the moment comes to step forward, they shrink back into what's familiar. But hear me, your destiny is never found in retreat. Your destiny is always forward, always ahead, always beyond what you've already known. The comfort zone will try to trick you. It will say, you've made it this far, just settle down. Don't rock the boat. Don't risk losing what you already have. But here's the catch. If you don't grow, you don't actually keep what you have. You slowly lose it. Your passion fades. Your joy disappears. Your relationships weaken. Your spirit begins to wither because nothing in life stays the same. You're either growing or decaying. There's no middle ground. So ask yourself, what's your comfort zone? Where have you settled? Where have you been playing small because you're afraid of stretching into something new? Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's in your health. Maybe it's in your relationships. Maybe it's in the way you see yourself. Wherever it is, that's the very place you need to lean into. Because the discomfort you're avoiding is the very environment where your next level is waiting. You've got to become addicted to growth, not comfort. You've got to reach a point where you'd rather feel the fear of the unknown than the numbness of the familiar. Because when you look back on your life, it won't be the moments of comfort that fill you with pride. It will be the moments you risked, the moments you dared, the moments you stepped into the unknown and discovered a greater version of yourself on the other side. Here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to abandon everything at once. Growth doesn't always happen in giant leaps. Sometimes it's about small, consistent steps out of your comfort zone. Every day asking yourself, can I do today that stretches me? What can I do that scares me a little, challenges me a little, forces me to grow a little? And when you do that consistently, those small steps become giant leaps over time. None of it happens until you make the choice. The choice to let go of what feels safe in exchange for what makes you strong. The choice to let go of what's familiar in exchange for what helps you evolve. The choice to say, I will no longer worship comfort because comfort cannot give me the life I was created to live. You were not put on this earth to play it safe. You were not put here to hide in the shadows of the familiar. You were put here to rise, to grow, to expand into everything you were designed to be, and that will never happen in the comfort zone. It only happens when you dare to step into the unknown, when you embrace the discomfort, and when you allow growth to take priority over safety. Because at the end of the day, comfort might give you ease, but growth gives you life. There's one final shift you must make if you want to rise today, and it's this. You have to step fully into the present moment. Because here's the truth. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. The only time you actually have is right now. Yet most people live everywhere except here. They're either trapped in the past, reliving regrets and replaying failures, or they're lost in the future, worrying about what might happen, waiting for the perfect moment, imagining a life they'll start living someday. And the tragedy is, while they're busy being everywhere except here, life is passing them by. Let me ask you, when was the last time you were fully present? I'm not talking about being in the room. I'm not talking about physically showing up. I mean, really being here, feeling this moment, breathing it in, experiencing it fully, without distraction, without drifting into yesterday or escaping into tomorrow. For so many people, it's rare, and yet that's where all the power is. Life doesn't happen yesterday. Life doesn't happen tomorrow. Life happens now. Your joy, your breakthrough, your transformation. It can only happen in the present moment. And if you're not here, if your mind is stuck in a story from yesterday or anxious about what's coming next, you're missing the only thing that's real. The present is a gift, but most people treat it like it's nothing. They're too busy staring backward or forward to even see what's right in front of them. They keep waiting for the right time to start, the right time to change, the right time to live fully, but there is no right time. There is only this time. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Think about how many people say, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I meet the right person. I'll be happy when I have more money, when I lose the weight, fix the past. But here's the problem. When happy is always somewhere in the future, you never arrive. The target keeps moving. The finish line keeps shifting. You live your whole life chasing a horizon you can never touch. What if happiness wasn't waiting for you out there? What if happiness was here right now in the breath you're taking, in the people around you, in the simple fact that you woke up today with another chance to live? If the present moment wasn't something to escape from, but something to embrace. When you step into the present, you stop surviving and you start living. You stop waiting for permission and you start creating. You stop rehearsing the pain of yesterday or the fear of tomorrow, and you start experiencing the power of now. And here's the miracle. You realize you already have everything you need to rise. It's not out there. It's in here, in this moment, in this choice, in this breath. The past has no power except the power you give it. The future has no certainty except the one you create. But the present, that's real. That's alive. That's where everything changes. That's where you decide. That's where you rise. And I know some of you are thinking, but how do I stay in the present when my mind keeps pulling me back or pushing me forward? The answer is awareness. Awareness that you're drifting, awareness that your thoughts are stealing your life. The second you notice it, you can take it back. You can say, no, not tomorrow, not yesterday, now. And the more you practice bringing yourself back to this moment, the stronger you get at living here. You've got to train yourself to value this moment, to see it as sacred. Because once it's gone forever. You can't replay it. You can't get it back. And most people don't realize how precious the present is until they run out of it. Don't wait until the clock is almost done to realize that the only thing you ever had was now. If you really want to rise today, then make today matter. Don't wait for tomorrow to bring you courage. Choose courage now. Don't wait for the future to bring you opportunity. Create opportunity now. Don't wait for someday to bring you joy. Find joy now, because tomorrow not promised and yesterday is already spent. But today, it's here. It's alive. It's waiting for you to step into it fully. I want you to imagine something. Imagine your life as an hourglass. The top half is the future, filled with grains of sand that haven't yet fallen. The bottom half is the past, grains that are already gone. Right in the middle, there's a tiny stream of sand falling through. That stream, that single grain, that's the present moment. That's all you ever have. One grain at a time, one moment at a time, one choice at a time. How you use that grain determines the life you build. So stop wasting the grains. Stop living in the bottom half where nothing can change. Stop staring at the top half where nothing is certain. Focus on the grain in front of you. Live it, own it, maximize it. Because that's where your life is. The greatest gift you can give yourself is presence. When you're present, you feel alive. When you're present, you see possibilities. When you're present, you connect deeply with yourself, with others, life itself. And that's when everything begins to shift. That's when you discover that rising isn't about someday. It's about today. It's about this moment, this breath, this choice. So let go of yesterday. Stop waiting for tomorrow. Step fully into today, because this is the only place where life happens, the only place where transformation begins, the only place where you can truly rise.